out, Mr. President? Why did you drop out of the election? Was it a difficult decision to make?
Before y'all Democrats start trying to play the race card, I want y'all to understand this. Kamala is not black. Her kids is not black. Her husband is not black. She does not come from black culture. So don't tell me I got to support Kamala Harris because she black. The race pandering from the Democratic Party got to stop. It's really that simple. Thank you for listening.
So y'all get in here. President Biden done dropped out of the race. He endorses Kamala Harris. Kamala have not done anything but laugh for the last 3.5 years. She ain't did nothing but laugh her way through the last 3.5 years. I mean, and the dialogue, the talks that she did do or have was so misconstrued, couldn't understand them. Most of the time, nobody knew what she was talking about. Y'all, come on. Is Kamala, is she the one? Is she who America wants to hold nuclear codes?
Now, why should you be offended? You would think, oh, well, yeah, we black people, we supposed to support our black folk. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me explain something to you. You should be offended beyond rapport because of the fact that somebody is willing to put someone in a seat for their color, even when they're not qualified to do a favor for you. Let me explain to you how the last 4 years have went. Up 3, coming into this 4. Let me explain something to you. So for the first three years, Kamala has not cared about the black community. Okay? Kamala and Biden have been doing everything in their power to support illegal immigrants.
Man, if you love black people, if you love black women, you would not want Kamala Harris to stand for president of the United States, you know. If you love black women and support black women, you wouldn't want Kamala Harris to serve as president of the United States.
Ain't nobody voting for Kamala Harris, y'all. I don't know why y'all keep saying vote for Kamala Harris. It's not happening. She would never step foot as the president ever in her life. And for black people to vote for the Democratic Party, regardless of how you put it, is stupid. Y'all don't know the history of the Democratic Party. They've never been for black people, ever.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, I never thought that I would see the day in which I would agree with Black Lives Matter. But I guess in the year 2024, I shouldn't be surprised because it seems as if anything is possible in upside down world. Because that is the world that we're currently living in, okay? Because Black Lives Matter has come out and issued a statement on Kamala Harris securing enough delegates to become the Democrat Party nominee. They are essentially rejecting Kamala Harris, saying that, no, the DNC should actually host a virtual snap primary because what happened to Joe Biden was, in fact, a coup, right? The Democrats have undermined voters to install Kamala Harris, and Black Lives Matter, an organization that Kamala Harris supports, by the way, has come out against it, saying that, no, you have to have an open convention because this is undemocratic. Again, never thought that I would see the day when Black Lives Matter gets on the same page with the Trump campaign.
Yes.
Leader, I know you said that this was a bottom-up process. But Kamala Harris is the Vice President of the United States. There was no other competition. This is going to be selected by party delegates, insiders, essentially. What's your case to the American people and to the Democratic voters that voted for Joe Biden that this isn't a coronation?
The bottom line, it was a bottom-up process. People just rallied right to her side. The enthusiasm in this big, diverse, representative party was amazing. It was palpable. You could cut it with a knife.
And let's bring in Laura Trump, RNC co-chair. They just anointed Kamala Harris. She's received no vote. And when I mean no votes, I mean she was the first one out of the race. She never got a primary vote. Now they've anointed her as a leader. She didn't get any Democratic primary in this election as well. So what do you make of this? They said they were going to run on democracy, and this seems real democratic.
Lawrence, it is such a joke. Look at the other side. Oh, my gosh. We had to basically get a proof of life in a phone call from Joe Biden, the current president. I'll remind everybody, yesterday, whenever Kamala Harris went to that Wilmington campaign office, this is insane. Do they really think the American people want to vote for this party? This is what this party is doing to the country? Wow. You are exactly right, Lawrence. I'll remind the audience how the process is actually supposed to work here in America. America. These folks in Washington, D.C. actually work for us. We, the people, we are actually supposed to vote for them and elect them to these offices. And yet it appears a lot of people for a long time knew Joe Biden could not actually run this race and actually probably shouldn't be president of the United States right now. Some people might say that that June 27th debate with Donald Trump, which was obviously disastrous, maybe was the first step in pushing Joe Biden out. Then you had the press conference, the NATO press conference, where he stood up in front of, the country and really didn't seem to have it together. That may have been another step in pushing him out. And then it seems like whenever he wouldn't go out on his own accord, they had to threaten him. Right. And now they have coronated Kamala Harris. This is not democracy. She also dropped out before her own home state of California voted in 2019 because she was polling so low.
Right. I don't know, man. You guys tell me. Maybe, just maybe, Black Lives Matter is listening to some reason, right? Some common sense. Okay, maybe, just maybe, Black Lives Matter on this issue, they're not being massive hypocrites for power and control like Democrats are doing when it comes to this conversation about democracy, okay? Because they're suspicious too, right? About how things happen to Joe Biden so quickly and so efficiently, right? They put out a timeline of events on their X profile. Sunday, Joe Biden drops out. Kamala Harris announces campaign with Biden endorsement. Kamala Harris says she's going to work hard to earn the nomination. Kamala Harris makes calls to party delegates. That happened on Sunday. Monday, Kamala Harris continues making calls to party delegates. Kamala Harris makes 2 public speeches. AP announces Kamala Harris has secured enough delegates to be the Democratic nominee. Kamala Harris releases this statement noting she worked hard to go out and earn this nomination as promised Monday night. A 24-hour process of talking to party bosses is not democratic, nor is it a process Democrats should be proud of. We do not live in a dictatorship. Delegates are not oligarchs. Installing Kamala Harris as a Democratic nominee and an unknown vice president without any public voting process would make the modern Democrat Party a party of hypocrites. Again, I knew I wasn't going crazy, guys. I knew I wasn't going crazy. Earlier today, I made a video in which I talked about Dave Portnoy, who I believe is more of an independent guy. He's a libertarian. I said, listen, if you're independent, if you're a centrist, there's no way you can get behind this, right? You cannot get behind what the Democrat Party is doing right now. No way. If you're looking at the situation objectively, everybody knows what happened to Joe Biden was a coup. And you cannot be comfortable with that if you actually care about democracy, right? We call on the DNC to create a process that allows for public participation in the nomination process, not just for a nomination by party delegate. So they're going further than an open convention. They're calling for a primary, right? They're basically saying, listen, there needs to be a whole primary. And I agree. And this is something that Democrats should be revolting over. You would think that Democrat voters, the people that care about democracy so much, they will be revolting against the Democrat Party. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the crazy part, right? Here's the funny part. They care more about Israel-Palestine than they do about their own voting rights. Think about that. Think about how hard the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas rioters went against Democrats because of what they were doing with their support of Israel. But they're not nearly as outraged by Democrats taking away their voting rights to make sure they don't have a say at all on what happens, right? Again, it blows my mind. It really does. There's not more outrage. And think about how crazy this is. This is how ludicrous this is, right? For years, Democrats have been pushing the conspiracy theory that requiring people to get an ID to vote is taking away people's voting rights, okay? And you've had people protest and march in the streets over Republican bills to require voter ID because they said that is taking away your right to vote. Democrats do not give you a chance to vote at all, right? They're saying, look, you're not even going to have a say in who the nominee is going to be. You don't get any voting rights in our party, right? After overturning your previous vote, they're now telling you moving forward, no, you're not going to be able to have a say at all, in fact, right? Crickets. mainstream liberal media celebrate, oh, Joe's a hero because he got blackmailed out of office, right? That is heroic. It is heroic to be blackmailed out of power, right? To be thrown out of power, to have a coup staged on you. And they spent years talking about how voting rights are under attack, right? They're still saying that. And Democrats take away the right to vote in their party altogether, and crickets, right? They're celebrating it. And if you question it, then you're scared, right? Or you're racist, right? This is what they'll say. But again, the good news is that there are some people that are realizing what's going on, right? They're actually saying what is happening with the Democrat Party, and people are calling them out for what this is, which again is a coup.
So the DNC, the GCCC, and the Democratic Party all actively forgoed a primary process. And they were telling us that Joe was ready to go. Even though you and I both knew that Joe probably hasn't known what day it is since about 2022. And now we're expected to support Kamala Harris, who, mind you, is not only a member of his administration, so an active participant in what is going on in Gaza, but she's also a cop, a prosecutor who ruined a lot of black families in California. She was actually so unpopular in her home state that she had to drop out of the 2020 race prior to the voting because she kept coming in 5th place in all the polls. So, no, I will not be supporting Kamala Harris. I don't care how much they black girl magic her over the next couple of months. I will not be supporting Kamala Harris, and you shouldn't either. Democratic nominees are voted for. They debate. They actually go through a real primary process. Kamala Harris did not do that. Joe Biden didn't even do that. And I want to be very clear that when Donald Trump wins in November, that it is because of the fact that the Democratic Party, the DNC, and the DCCC have decided to forgo democracy because they do not actually care about upholding democracy. Anyway, vote for Jill Stein.
Wow, that video warms my heart. It really does. It's the best video I've seen all day. Because I got to tell you guys, if you can't tell, this really has bothered me, right? It really does. Because I don't understand how is it that we're going to allow Kamala Harris into the White House when her own party did not vote for her, right? Nobody voted for her. But yet they're trying to force her into the White House. But I am happy that there are people that are seeing it. People are seeing through what the Democrat Party is doing, because I don't understand how in a country where we're supposed to value democracy so much, we're allowing the most undemocratic thing I've ever seen in my life to happen right in front of our faces from the party that has gaslit us into believing that they care about democracy. But again, their definition of democracy is Democrat power and control. It has nothing to do with you having a say on anything. In fact, they're afraid for you to have a say on anything, which is why they operate the way they do. This is why they gaslight you so much. They don't want you to believe what you're saying, right? Don't believe your eyes. Crime is not up. The border's not open. Inflation is not up. It's not raging, right? Things don't cost more. We're not pushing adult content on kids in school. That's not actually a man. That's a woman. Kamala Harris is black. We didn't stage a coup against Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't mentally deteriorating for the past 4 years. Kamala's the greatest thing ever, right? This is the gaslighting that they're doing. The same party that has lied to you, that lied to the American people for the past 4 years, are going to continue to lie to you because they are going to do whatever they can to get Kamala Harris elected and to not allow Trump in the White House. And as a country, we cannot stand for this. It has gotten out of control. Everybody should be outraged about what the Democrat Party and the mainstream liberal media is doing right now to this country. So, hey, it's up to us, man. This election, seriously, is probably going to be the most consequential election of our lifetimes. Because if Kamala Harris wins, there is absolutely no reason to believe that they will ever let go of power. Because if they get away with it this time, well, what's the point in them having primaries in the future? Why can't they just do it next time? They'll just say, hey, well, we're going to do it to beat whatever Republican. Because whoever takes over after Trump, they're going to just say that he was Hitler. He's dangerous. He's a threat to democracy, and they're going to use it to overthrow democracy in their own party. They're just going to keep doing it because they know they can get away with it. The only people that can hold them accountable are the voters. This is why the people who claim they care about democracy so much should demand that Democrats actually stick to their principles. Have some democracy within their party. Kamala will probably win anyways. But at the very least, you can say, well, she was voted for. People actually voted for her. But see, again, I think they're afraid that maybe, just maybe, people won't vote for Kamala. Maybe they'll vote for somebody else. And again, they can't have that. They can't have you make the decision about who the nominee is. No, they can't do that. That's the last thing that they want. Because you might vote for somebody that's not a puppet, right? You might vote for somebody that can't be controlled by the party elite. And they can't have that, right? They can't have you have any control over what actually goes on in their party and how the country's run. That's the last thing that they want. But just remember, though, that guy, Orange Man Trump, he's a threat to democracy, though, right? Even though in that party, Republican Party, those guys, there's actually democracy there, okay? They actually get to vote on who represents them. You guys don't, but they're the threat to democracy, though, right? They're the threat to democracy. Wow, amazing. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.